Hey guys, welcome to Schneider Time. Let's talk about identity. This might be a two-part discussion. We might have to actually take this and cut it into two pieces because I want to give you guys two big thoughts before summer. And I'm going to try and get three of these out before summer. I know I'm rushing a lot. It's been a crazy semester, and don't really have a plan for these. I just kind of record them as I think of things. But I've got three ideas I want to get at you real quick. I think two of them are connected enough to where I can do two and just do one big one and cut it up, and it should fit thematically. Identity. Who are you? How do you see yourself? There's a lot of layers to that, and I'm not going to touch on all of them. In fact, I like to kind of cut through the layers and get down to a very basic idea of how we formulate our identity. And so today I want to talk about being versus doing. We are called human beings. Our identity exists rests in our existence. We are, in essence, because we are. But oftentimes we decide to find ourselves in what we do, to alter our identity, and to go from human beings to human doings. And no one talks that way. That's a dumb phrase. But in essence, that's how we live. We define ourselves by our actions. Now, let's be clear. Our actions oftentimes, most of the time, reveals our character. Our actions reveal our values. We'll do things we find valuable. We'll do things we find important. But that cannot be who we are. We have to be who we are and allow our actions to communicate that. We cannot work backwards. We cannot take our actions and use that to figure out who we are. That's reductive, and that's limiting. I am not a musician. I am not a singer. I'm not an artist. You've seen The Duck. But I'm a very creative person. I like creating, and I have different avenues for creating. If I had tried to deduce how my abilities in the creative realm from what I can't do, I would have probably surmised I'm not very creative. I have chosen a field of study, history, that doesn't lend itself to creativity. I have chosen a job, teaching, that does not really allow for much creative expression. There's not much noticeable creative expression. And so I don't do many things publicly or out loud that really express creativity. And yet I do a lot of creative things. I just don't broadcast it because it's not like, my strongest abilities aren't in the creative sphere. And the things I do that are creative are pretty simple, and honestly, they're for me. I do a lot of creative things for me, and I don't want to share them, and I don't have to share them, so stop prying. But I am a creative person, and I know that because it's part of who I am. But if I had tried to determine who I was based upon what I actually do, I wouldn't see myself as creative. I don't do a lot of things, at least as a volume of time, that are creative. And so, or volume, percentage of my time, that's a better word. I don't do a lot of things that are creative outwardly, and I don't do a lot of things that are creative in total. So working backwards from actions into my actual identity is fraught with difficulties. And some of you guys, you're prone to do that because you're trying to figure out who you are in junior high and high school, and you guys have been kind of delayed thanks to COVID stuff, but oftentimes you're tempted to define yourselves by what you do. I'm an athlete. I'm an academic. I'm a creative person, or you can go more narrower. Like I'm a football player. I'm a theater kid. I'm an artist, whatever. And those statements aren't damaging in themselves, except when they become the totality, or at the very least, the nucleus of your identity. Because once you stop doing that thing, who are you? I can't tell you how many guys I've met who are stuck in kind of arrested development because for so many years their identity was I'm a football player or I'm a basketball player. And once that's gone, who are you? You know, and oftentimes they'll replace it with their job. Oh, I'm an accountant or I'm a lawyer, and that's not terrible either. But then when you retire, who are you? You need some sort of core to who you are, some sort of element that can just be. Now, those elements will change and evolve, but there won't be a catastrophic like rending. Whereas if your identity is I'm a piano player, and then you lose a hand. God forbid, like you lose a hand, right? You know, if your identity is wrapped up in that thing you do, it's tied to your physicality. When your physicality fails you, and guys, your physicality will fail you at some point in time, your identity is lost. When your identity is tied to some sort of quality of your personhood, so your character, your values. When your identity is tied to those things can grow and evolve without just a random just chopping, okay? Which is terrible to say after I made a comment about losing a hand. But that's my point there, is that there has to be something inside of you that gives kind of the continuity of personhood. You are a human being, and you will continue to be until you are no longer being, okay? But until such time, you need that kind of that consistency of self. And oftentimes we remove that by focusing ourselves and identifying ourselves by what we do rather than who we are. That's all. Until next time, which will be in 2 minutes when I restart the recording, have a good day. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.
Here I am, growing older all the time, looking older all the